Hey everybody, welcome back to Wendy Branch's Farm. I'm Rebecca. Today I'm going to can up a ton of cherry tomatoes, and I have some fresh basil that I just picked. It's still wet. Some fresh basil that I just picked from our herb garden. Also some fresh oregano that I just picked from our herb garden. I have these washed up, nice and clean and ready to go. And a brand new bottle of organic balsamic vinegar. This we got at Costco, and this is a really good brand. I don't know if you've tried it, but this is a really good brand. My jars are on the stove heating up. My rings and lids are heating up. All that done. I have my tools out that I'm gonna need. I have my recipe. Whoops! For this round of canning cherry tomatoes, I'm going to can half of them in plain water, and I'll add citric acid and salt to that one. And in the other half, I'm going to use some onion, some garlic, and then the thyme, or not thyme, the oregano and basil in that one. That way I can, if I'm in a pinch and I need to use a can of this to make spaghetti sauce quick, if I've ran out or whatever, then I can just use my blender and blend it up and, you know, add the seasonings and do all the things so I can make spaghetti sauce. Or if I want to make salsa or whatever. So, and we can't eat all of these, so I'm going to can up as many of these as I possibly can. There's a ton more over in the garden, but this is what I have in the house. I'm trying to not get overwhelmed by all the stuff coming in. So when it comes in, I'm trying to process it and put it away, and before I deal with more things. I have things on the washing station out in the garden. There's things in the garden that needs to get out and get in the washing station. But I have a lot of stuff in the house, and I am making great progress at preserving stuff and getting it on our shelf. So for these tomatoes, what we want to do is use a toothpick or a skewer or something. I have big toothpicks. So what you want to do is you want to poke 2 or 3 holes in each one. And the reason why is 2 things. It will help the skin not bust wide open. Sometimes it's still going to happen, but it will help that. But also it will let your vinegar or whatever you're using to, as a brine, whatever you're flavoring with, to penetrate into the tomato as it processes, and then also as it, you know, sets on your pantry shelf. Now, I am using some green tomatoes. I like green tomatoes. I like that flavor that they give. But I am going to use a few green tomatoes in this. And then I wanted to show you one other thing. If you find tomatoes that have blemishes or soft spots on them, just don't even bother using them, because that can be a problem. That can give you bacteria in your jars, and then you can get very, very sick from that. Even if the jar seals and you have some of these, if you have anything you use that you're canning, if it's bruised or has spots on it or whatever, I suppose that you could cut it off and still use this, but I don't ever take a chance on that. If it is soft or if it has spots on it, I just don't use it. Or I will use this. That's not what I'm saying. I will use this. I just won't can with it, because I don't want to possibly introduce bacteria into my jar. So what I'll do is cut this off. I'll let this go ahead and get red, and then I'll cut off the bottom of it, and the rest of the tomato is perfectly fine. We'll use it in a salad or whatever, but I won't put this in my canning jars. Tomatoes washed and pierced. Each one of them, I have them all pierced, which took quite a bit of time, but it's worth it. These tomatoes are so good, and it's worth taking the time. It's very time consuming, but it's worth it. When you open that jar and you're able to use it, it's worth it. So I have everything ready. The tomatoes are pierced. I have garlic. onions, and then my oregano. This is oregano, and basil. So it probably won't take all of that, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough so I didn't get in the middle of canning and then need to run back out to the garden. But I have my citric acid ready, my salt, and my balsamic vinegar. I have all my tools. My jars are heated up. I have clean water on the stove to fill the jars after I put all the goodies in it, and we're ready to get busy canning. This set of jars is the plain boiling water with the herbs and onions and garlic and citric acid and salt. So these are going in now. I got 5 of those. And so now that I have those in the canner, I'll start on the balsamic vinegar ones. I think that I may only get 4 with the tomatoes that I have left. So we'll see. Okay. The cherry tomatoes that I'm canning in balsamic vinegar, I'm not going to add the citric acid because the vinegar is acidic enough for these tomatoes. So we're only going to add the salt. And now we'll add our hot water. Okay, in the canner these go. We're going to add these 4 to the canner. Look how beautiful that is. So pretty. The little cherry tomatoes are a lot to work with, but to me they're very worth it. Okay, my water is 2 inches above the jars. It's 2 inches above the jars. I'm going to leave that jar in there. It's empty. That's an empty jar right there. But that's okay. It'll take up space and hopefully prevent anything from turning over. So we'll leave that jar in there. I'm gonna put the lid on this, bring it up to a full rolling boil, and then it's gonna process for 40 minutes. And I'll be back with you when I take them out. I'm going to individually package up each one of these things that I had left over here, the onion, garlic, and the 2 herbs, so that when I pick more cherry tomatoes in the morning and I bring them in, hopefully I'll have another canner load and I will already have my ingredients cut up to get those jarred up. The timer just went off for these for 40 minutes, so I'm going to turn this off, take the lid off of the canner, and just let this sit here for a little bit until it simmers down a little. I'm going to scoot it off that hot eye. We'll let this sit here and simmer, or sit here and cool off for a little bit, and then we'll get them out of the canner. Okay, the canner's been sitting here for about 10 minutes, so I'm going to start getting these out now. That's the one with the balsamic. These look really pretty. There we go. We got these water bath canned, and I'm gonna leave these sitting here until tomorrow, and then I will take the rings off, label the jars, wipe the jars down, and put them on our pantry shelf.